All right, hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Football Channel. I'm Scott, joined here by Michelle, and as you can see, it is time to talk World Cup. We're having a World Cup kickoff party here, guys. We're going to have more predictions, random chat, and a bit of a watch along for the opening ceremony, which I'm sure is going to have a few talking points as well. So we're going to be back just after this.
Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise Football Channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.
All right, so yeah, this is going to be an interesting stream, Michelle. As well, I've said it already. There we go, Michelle. Joined by Michelle. Of course, I'm Scott, and we are here kicking off the World Cup in style. Of course, last week we did our predictions debate. So if you want to check that out, go and see who we think's going to win the World Cup. Well, we'll kind of go through it here, I'm sure, again. But if you want to see how we got to that, that's a fun little video to check out as well. But yeah, of course, we are the Rebellious Noise Football Channel, and we are here talking football, of course, and this time round talking the World Cup. How are you feeling, Michelle? A week on from our last predictions. Has it kind of started kicking in a bit more yet?
Yeah, like everyone's doing that, all got their wall charts up, haven't they? And there's all the sweepstakes, and obviously there has been some more stuff in the news about the World Cup and things.
Just a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. We're seeing players getting injured like a day or two before their first games. It's still feeling a little bit weird because it's not summer. But I was watching, I was watching something on Sky Sports earlier. We're not endorsed by them, by the way. I just happened to be watching it. And Neville was making a really good point about how normally you have 3 or 4 weeks to work with your team, and managers are getting like 4 or 5 days to prep for a World Cup. It's nuts, but it's exciting because I think actually it could be it could potentially be a really good tournament because there's a few wildcard options where some of the big players are getting injured. So
yeah, exactly that. I think the fact that this is going to be different could, as a fan, play in our favor, and it would just be crazy. I mean, to be fair, I think of 2018, look how many strange things happened in that tournament, and that was just kind of a regular time, so doing it in the winter, like you say, and kind of the way the season's been structured around it as well. Of course, you're referring to Benzema, of course, being injured, which is a real shame, because as much as I don't want them winning another World Cup, I do want to see the greatest players on the biggest stage. And the fact is, he's a Ballon d'Or winner. Of course, that came into our kind of discussions when we were talking France last week as well. So that's a real shame. I guess it's a positive for anyone that comes up against France. But other than that,
he doesn't. I really like Benzema, but Deschamps definitely favours Giroud anyway. Like, Benzema doesn't actually get that much time at national level. So a lot of the bookies lengthening the odds on France winning it, but I don't think it's going to impact on them as badly as people think it's going to. But it is a big one, yeah.
An interesting thing for me is the fact that, and I'm trying to look into it now, see if there's any updates or anything like that, but the fact that they've not said about replacing him, Martial, Lacazette, they're like, nah.
Who? Tony Marshall. Yeah.
So that's weird. I mean, maybe it's a tactical thing. Maybe he's not even injured. Maybe he's injured, but he'll be back at the end of the group stage or something like that. And that's why they're not giving it the spot.
The great Ronaldo conspiracy of that final.
Oh, another one.
Yeah. So I think it's sad. I think this is the first time in quite a long time, probably over 30 years. I could be wrong, whether the current holder of the Ballon d'Or isn't able to play in the World Cup or.
Oh wow!
Interesting stats. I love a stat.
So
it will be interesting. Maybe it is all a ruse, but again, he tends to prefer Giroud up top anyway. So, but yeah, interesting. They haven't called in a replacement. You're allowed to. Is it up to 24 hours before the kickoff of your first game? Is that right?
Oh, is that right? Okay, so when's their first game?
Groups A and B are playing. Well, obviously you've got kickoff down today, but A and B play tomorrow, which means France won't be playing till at least Tuesday. So they may still bring someone into the fold tomorrow. It might just be
a bit of time to think about as well. Yeah, Tuesday, 7 o'clock UK time.
Yeah.
First match against Australia. So
yeah, it could very well be a visa thing where they just need to sort out some travel arrangements before they commit to
yeah,
it.
maybe you don't want to say anything just yet, but like to not use up that body at least as an emergency seems wild. So you'd imagine they'll bring someone in, because otherwise, imagine if even if it weren't a forward, you know, and it was an extra defender or something, you know, you never know, like where people are going to look back on hindsight and go, you could have literally brought, you weren't to see an injury crisis, but you did have an extra person available to you. So
maybe his faith in Kylian Mbappe is so strong that he just doesn't see the need to bring anyone.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd bring the extra body in, even if it was like a midfielder or something, someone that could drop back or go forward. But
there's injuries for me, you know. The fact is, anyone that's injured and just kind of, you know, needing more, just to, or even like the game's done, you're qualified for the knockouts, and you need someone to come on to kind of rest someone's legs. You know what I mean? So
100% to see it over the finish line, but you know, they've already had quite a few big injuries in the France squad, even prior to the 26-man squad being named. So
yeah. Speaking of another one, of course, Sadio Mane as well being out injured as well. So that's a shame for Senegal.
Yeah, because it was a bit touch and go. They thought he was going to be injured, and then it looked like he was possibly going to be fit. And it seems that he's out as well. That is a really big one for Senegal. That is a really, really big one for Senegal. I think that really will impact on their chances, actually.
Yeah, I think it's the main. Obviously, you usually go to the main star anyway with any of these kind of teams. You think Lewandowski, for example. People talk about Poland. The first thing people want to say is, "Oh, Lewandowski." You know, like it's obvious. You know, the main star. But yeah, it is a real shame for him, of course. But it's never nice seeing someone go down, especially so close to the World Cup. I think about Trent for us as well. You know, last time around with the Euros, just so close.
Yeah,
so
definitely, you know, and Son was really hitting, like it was real touch and go if he'd make that career squad, and he is. And how would we? Although obviously he's not my favourite player for obvious reasons. How would it impact on us if we lost Kane for the tournament? Massively. You know?
Hey, I'm all for Kane while he's got the free.
When he's got an England shirt,
it's a certain kind of white. Is a right to be wearing for me. If he's in that lily white, no, thank you. But anyway, let's move away from the doom and gloom of injuries and things like that. Let's get ourselves in the mood for the World Cup. Michelle.
Yes,
we're
absolutely.
here having a party. They can't drink that much over there, so we're going to do it for you. Look at the wine there, and I've got myself quite a nice looking.
Oh my god, that's bigger than your head.
Yeah, well, you know, I thought we have to celebrate the World Cup in style. Again, making up for those that can't drink out there in Qatar. Now they can drink out there in Qatar. To be fair, this is where the controversy comes in. Of course, hold on, let me take a giant sip.
Hang on, I'm not going to take a giant sip because red wine's quite dry. But
so this is where, of course, lately, and I see many different arguments of the story here. We'll get into some of the controversy surrounding Qatar, but I think the main issue is now some people saying if you can't go X amount of time without a beer, then there's a problem, and that's a good point. In the UK,
it's called alcoholism.
Well, there's that. In the UK, hey, what are you talking about here? In the UK, you can of course drink before a game and at half time, but you can't drink in view of the pitch and all that stuff anyway. So we kind of already deal with that stuff over here. But I think the issue is that for a sponsor, Budweiser, that is crazy. And then like it was dropped on them last minute. And the fact is they've got these cultural differences, which I agree with. Like you can't go there and expect them to change everything. But then the other argument is that if you invite the world, you need to be willing that there are different kind of cultures and things like that coming to you. So it's an interesting balance. But I think the problem is that it's so late in the day. I saw a funny tweet the other day that was basically someone said something along the lines of, I forget who it was, so apologies, but it was along the lines of Qatar are fully in, well, you ain't going to move it mode. You know, like what you're going to do, move the World Cup. And that's exactly it. I feel like they've gone along all this time going, yeah, this will be fine. And then a few days before they've gone, actually,
we're just going to do our own thing with it.
You know, and the other side of the controversy, of course, comes with the hospitality side, you know, where if you are rich enough, then these things aren't too much of a big deal. And you can drink as much as you like, as close as you like to the action. So that's the problem there for me.
I can't believe people are shocked about this money thing though. Like am I gonna I'm gonna say I haven't got any sponsorship or anything. Money talks. Talks, and Sepp Blatter himself came out this week and basically said the same thing, didn't he? You know,
what an interesting character that man is.
Oh yes, he certainly is. I think look, the reality is Qatar is a dry country, technically speaking, so there does have to be a degree of respect. But then again, if you're going to invite the world, you have to be able to host the world in a way. You know, there's talk of it being like 80 quid a pint in some restaurants.
No, stuff. It can't be that bad.
Like the top end ones, yeah.
So the ones I've seen are concerning are people talking about. I saw a fan zone being put together, and it was all kind of a bit of a shambles, and they had like, it was like $12 for water or something like that, and it was like the closest thing to get that was like really far away, and all this kind of stuff, and the heat out there is going to kind of play a big part. Of course, we'll talk about that as far as the games go as well. But did you see the clips of the England players trying to cool down the other day? With it in front of the fan with the water spraying on them in that? I thought, my goodness, like that's not boding well.
Well, I mean, a few people were saying, oh, the kickoff times are quite convenient for us over here. It's going to be really late over there. But people need to remember, it's still really bloody hot over there, which is why everything is kicking off a bit later.
Yeah.
The fan zones, I'm confused about them. I was under the impression initially people would be allowed to drink in the fan zones, and now they're not. And there's a thing like, I think the furthest apart two of the stadiums are 34 miles. There's potential for a lot of clash over between, like crossover and clashes between different groups of fans, and with controversy around some of the hotels and accommodation and how they're not segregating fans, and it has the potential to. But then, if alcohol is not going to be in the mix, does some of that trouble not happen?
Yeah, I mean that is the other side of it, though. Again, like if. It's the problem is for me the change and the last minute thing, the sponsorship thing, and the kind of hypocrisy and stuff like that. But then the other side of it is like, like maybe, well, it will calm down some of the craziness we see at football. I mean, we think of the Euro final was an absolute joke, you know, the way that went. It was, and I think UEFA
was embarrassing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was embarrassing. Like, but at the same time, things could have been helped. UEFA could have put the kickoff time earlier in the day and stuff like that as well, you know, to make things better. But at the same time, people are responsible for their own actions. So, you know, it's like, there's that as well. And we do see it. I love when a World Cup or Euros are on, you see international fans singing in the street. You know, I think years back when they were serenading the Swedish women and stuff like that, the Irish fans singing along and all that stuff. You know, they're always really fun to see. But then at the same time, we do also get those clips of, you know, fans throwing chairs at each other and stuff like that, you know, and a lot of that, both those things are fueled by alcohol in different ways, you know?
Yeah, I think it depends on the alcohol and depends who the alcohol is being put into, doesn't it?
Yes. And at what stage where that video is being recorded in their journey of drink that day. So.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I was watching a little bit that Italia 90, you know, the year that football changed the world.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
Yeah, really good. Lots of John Barnes action, which is always cool.
Of course.
But it's really interesting watching the behaviour of fans. And I do understand why English fans were issued the ban. The behaviour at Wembley last year certainly isn't helping the reputations. But I do find it really interesting. Now we have mobile phones and social media, so it's so much quicker and easier to be caught on camera and for it to go viral.
Yeah. Which makes it look worse, because right, that probably was there in the 90s as well, but it just weren't
harder to capture.
Yeah, it was few and far between as far as the way it was broadcast and stuff like that. And like you say, it's instant. But yeah, I mean, fan trouble was always a risky one. And like you say, certain fan groups clashing over. We see, as I mentioned there, we see some fans meet up and they have a song and a dance together, and then you see other fans meet up and it's not great. In some sections of each fan base, you know, like that's the thing as well, you know. But those are again some of the negatives. But it's mad how much the tournaments just had. So I've never in my lifetime seen this before a tournament kicked off, just how controversial it was already. Now, people can say, oh, Russia. But Russia, I think a big part of that was that people thought it would be unsafe and that there would be trouble and things like that. And then by all accounts, from what I heard, people loved being out there. I know things have changed as far as Russia's position in the world these days. But just strictly going back to 2018, when they did open their kind of arms to the world, it seemed like it went pretty smoothly and people were kind of taken aback by how much they enjoyed it. But there was a lot of controversy before it, but still nothing to the degree of what we're seeing here.
You've also got to remember with Russia, they are a footballing country. They do have the infrastructure, and it's such a massive country, and teams and fans have to travel all the way across it for the league. So the infrastructure around transport and managing fan zones and stadiums and stuff was kind of there anyway. Qatar, I don't even.
It's all been built. It's all post-built.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and all the footage to see that being told they can't film and take pictures. It's like, it's really, man. Talking about the crazy off the pitch stuff. Did you see the video from the FIFA president Gianni Infantino?
The speech.
Oh my goodness, it was. I could kind of get what he was coming at, but he come into it hostile. And like, it's like, and a good point he did make is that people in FIFA are dealing with a situation that their predecessors booked. Do you know what I mean? They're just trying to make the best of it now, and they've got to do that. And I do appreciate that side of it, if that is the case for most of them. But at the same time, there's plenty of chance in between to maybe they're not. Maybe legally you can't really do something like that. Maybe it's a bit too simple for us to say, "I'll pull out and go somewhere else." But at the same time, it just feels it was ready. He's batting off people's criticisms, and I understand what he's mentioned, the hypocrisy of a lot of it. But at the same time, he's batting off criticism that is kind of just at the same time. So we've got George here, loving the jumper. Got hello from the museum. Oh, George, thanks for joining us. George, a buddy of mine in the museum. He must be in the Arsenal museum. On a shift at the Arsenal today, are you, George? Nice to see a comment from you, mate. Thanks for joining us. And the jumper, of course, is a classic football shirt. Baggio Christmas jumper. Classic football shirts themselves have been releasing some great Christmas jumpers. This actually come from last year's one, but this year's batch are really cool as well.
Yeah, they've got quite a few, haven't they?
They've got a nice England one, which is actually raising money for shelter as well, helping tackle homelessness. So if you're into that, well, I'm sure we're all into helping the homeless. Surely you'd like to think we're all nice people. Then that's a great way to give back as well. Of course, classicfootballshirts.co.uk. Shout out to them because we've been having a lot of fun there, haven't we, Michelle, recently? We've got one of the episodes on this channel, of course, the goal hanging episode there with the World Cup 2002. So if you want to see us kind of with a live audience, a rowdy bunch kind of crown the ultimate shirt from 2002's World Cup. And since then, we've recorded a few extra episodes as well, which we're hoping to get out on the channel very soon. So if you're new here, please give us a little subscribe and we'd appreciate that. And we'll be bringing you some fun content on the way. But do you like the jumper then?
I do like it. I was looking at it. I was Bobby Badger. I might have to get Simon one for Christmas. I'm definitely going to get myself one next time we're down Classic Football Shirts doing another event.
Definitely.
I don't know which one yet.
I like the Burkamp one's really nice.
I get that you're getting into the World Cup spirit, and that's great, but it is still only November, and I'm very kind of no Christmas till the 1st of December.
Hey, it's an overlap at the moment. I got to do it. I got to kind of bring it in the mid. It's cold, to be honest. It is. It's cold already. So like, I needed something warm to wear that was football-y,
warm, festive, and football-y.
And it worked. Because behind me got the England shirts. Because I am in England. I'm an England fan. We're going to try not to be too biased here when we talk about England. If you want to see our kind of thoughts on England and the chances in depth after this stream, please feel free to check out our predictions debate that we did on this channel as well. And also, I did a kind of instant reaction to the England squad. I know it's kind of old news now, but there's still some interesting topics in there that hopefully you can get something out of as well. But what we're here for now is the kickoff party. The whole idea is to kind of have a laugh, have a few drinks, and get ourselves hyped up for the event. Now, today, of course, we've got the opening ceremony. That's going to be taking place in just under 39 minutes. And that's going to be fun. Got to be on this channel. And that's going to be fun to see as well, seeing what Qatar do there. I think once the first ball is kicked, it's going to kind of, everybody's going to be focused on the action. And I really hope that this is, I do think the opening ceremony is going to be an interesting one.
Who's performing?
Come on, Michelle. Look, we're past it. Even if we said their names, I won't know who you're talking about.
Apparently, Dua Lipa has come out publicly and said that she is not doing it.
I know she is, so that's a shame because I would have been able to go. That's I saw a few names popping up that I'd never heard of before, but I keep seeing them, so they must be actually who's there. But Well,
there's a whole thing around. I wonder if the Spice Girls are doing it because David Beckham's quite heavily involved, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Speaking of which,
if the Spice Girls do it, I would lose my mind.
All will be forgiven. Have you seen that stuff with speaking of David Beckham with comedian Joe Lycett?
Joe Lycett's been like messaging him and like
he's gonna shred all that money. I think it's coming up quite soon actually. But yeah, I hope it's a publicity stunt and he doesn't shred the money because that money
we'll donate it to like.
But that's the point. It will be donated to I think LGBT communities, but unless he gets a response, I think it's from David Beckham, then he's just going to shred it, basically being like, Beckham, you could have done this by pulling out of the World Cup. But let's be real, it's unrealistic. I think Beckham could have at least come out and said something, and maybe behind the scenes has said something to him. I haven't kept up with the story too much. But yeah, again, we're getting into the really hard topics here with the World Cup. But we can't shy away from it. You know what I mean? It's an important thing.
Regardless of how this World Cup goes, either way, it is going to go down in history for whatever reason. It's either going to be a bit of a Russia where it shocks people and they go, actually, that was run really well, despite all the publicity, or it's going to be a car crash, or it might, like I said, because of like the weird timing of it and the injuries, maybe we will see some rogue team win it, like that time Greece won the Euros.
That's a good point.
Not want a game outright in 90 minutes and stuff. So, by the way, someone from BTS is performing the opening ceremony.
Oh, there we go. I did see something.
BTS
I know who they are. Couldn't name you a song. I haven't really dove into K-pop myself, but
there we go. Either way, it's going to go down in the history books. But it just depends for what reason, and is it the right reason?
It would be gutting if we won it and it ended up being an absolute shambles that people try to ignore the World Cup for a bit. That one doesn't count. You know how people try and say about Liverpool winning the COVID Premier League title.
COVID Premier League.
But I don't know. It's hey, but there are fun things to talk about. Once again, Footix is here. I'm representing a lot of World Cups here. I've got Italia 90. I've got USA 94.
Yeah,
I've got France 98. I got Korea, Japan 2002.
Yeah.
I needed Germany 2006 to keep the streak alive, didn't I? But instead, we're jumping all the way to 2018 in Russia. But that's
have a good long hard look at yourself. You've let yourself down there.
No, that's a disappointment.
Whereas I have not at all.
What are you talking about? I've let myself.
I've got an NFL shirt.
You're wearing the wrong sport. But then again, the USA, got to say, they are in our group, of course.
They are.
Talked lately about them kind of being not so much dark horses for the tournament,
but stronger than people think.
Exactly that.
Definitely.
So that'd be interesting as well.
Yep. Also they are hosting the next World Cup in 4 years' time. So this, I anticipate that will be a very, very well run World Cup, because if you want to talk large scale sporting events, well, the States are some of the absolute best at it, aren't they? And I think they'll, especially with the success of the women's team, they'll really want to drive that. I think it has the potential to be really, really good.
We could be in serious danger. The world, I've got to be honest, the world could be in serious danger with the USA becoming kind of interested in football more and more, because as much as I like to see
where you were going with the serious danger. Elaborate, please.
I mean, they're sport insider, but like, they're really good. Like, they can get things done. Like,
and when they decide they want to be good at something, they get really, really good.
They have some great athletes. They have a massive talent pool. If they start moving that focus into football, we could be in trouble. Their infrastructure within sport is huge. As much as people can joke around, and we all do, about the World Series not really being and world champions when someone lifts the Lombardi Trophy at the Super Bowl. Realistically, if they wanted to tackle the world, they might be all right eventually.
Do you think internationally and in the States, people tune into the FA Cup final in the same way that British people tune into the Super Bowl?
No, well, there are a lot of football fans, though, I've got to say. When I've been out there and I've been out and watched games in bars and stuff like that, and you see like the real dedication between the fan bases as well.
I think there's quite a lot down the East Coast, isn't there? Because there's quite a lot of obviously English, Irish, Scottish, like lots of British people down there. Like, when you were in New York, you found a bar that did Arsenal games, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a few actually. I went one a few years ago, and then that shut down. Then they moved somewhere else, and there are a few. But I went to the one that was like considered like the official supporters club one. Great atmosphere. People really into it, and it's good to see. But yeah, I do think if they really put their mind to it, as a country, if they got the support they needed, then they could become a powerhouse, and that is a worry. I know people like to make the jokes and stuff like that, but
you also got to remember, all they've got to do is take like their national team to one of their more southern states to train in the heat, and it's going to be
they've got you're right, actually.
Every climate there, haven't
every
they?
climate to test with. That's a really good point.
That's why they do so well in the summer and winter Olympics and things like that. They've got it all.
Wow, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, they're a sleeping giant when it comes to football. I think they really could be something. But hey, let's hope it. Let's hope they they slow down a bit so that England can kind of hopefully get to the
Just have
forefront.
one more moment in the sun.
Yeah, at least one more. But let's get into some predictions then. Of course, we've done our main predictions here with the debate of who's going to win. What we did there was like a predictor wall chart. We went through it, and check that out to see the kind of matches we came up with there. It was good fun as well. So whether you're watching this live or on demand, we'd appreciate it if after this, if you had some time to check that out as well. But what we do on this one is we'll kind of go more kind of specific with it. So rather than doing a full kind of wall chart, we'll just be like, who do you think's going to get such and such awards, for example, so and we'd have some silly ones as well.
Wild card predictions.
Yeah, all right, so let's think. Right,
Golden boot.
Golden boot. Yeah, let's start with golden boot. Start with a big one. Go on.
Start with a big one. If you'd have asked me a year or so ago, I would have said Harry Kane. I think he's in with a good shout, but he's not been firing on all cylinders at the moment. And I'm going to go controversial and say possibly Olivier Giroud, actually.
Wow. That is controversial.
It is controversial. But look, statistically speaking, he's one of France's best. And that whole team is set up. And he's, was really instrumental in them winning the Scudetto and everything. I think Giroud might not be the outright winner, but I think he's in with a good shout. If Brazil are firing on all cylinders and Neymar can find his shooting boots again, you cannot discount him. You can't really discount Mbappe at this point either.
Not a bad player. Yeah. Yeah,
not a bad player. I'm looking at the Germany squad, and who have they got? Is it Havertz? Was it? I don't think a German striker's going to get it.
Yeah, Havertz. I'm just looking at the odds, and Havertz is very low down.
Way down there. Messi again. You can't discount Messi.
Yeah.
If Argentina goes far as we think they're going to. But then you've got Nico Williams playing for Spain, Iñaki Williams' brother, and could he be with a shout? If Spain go out as early as I think they're going to, I don't know. But I think possibly Giroud, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. But then it could just be like some wild card 17-year-old kid we've never seen before that comes.
Yeah. I mean, in the World Cup, what's interesting about it is you only really have to get like 5 or so goals to become a golden boot winner. In some, depending on your group, a lot of times you can get the bulk of that in your group, and if you go all the way, there's plenty of chance. Of course, more games you're in, the more goals you can score, of course. But with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if someone got the golden boot that went out in the round of 16, because they could be on fire in the group. I guess it depends if you've got maybe a soft group, So
definitely.
Or not so much a soft group, but a group with like where there's goals in the game because maybe the defenses are weak, but the attacks are wild, and it ends up being 4-4.
Who's your Moroccan man at Chelsea? What's his name?
Ziyech.
Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah.
Could potentially if he bangs him in the group, but then actually they are the turnover team in that group, really, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly that. It'd be hard to be both those things, wouldn't it? You have to score 3 but get 5 against you or something like that. An interesting one that's kind of slightly lifted up the list for some people, I think, is Richarlison for Brazil. Now, there's a lot of names that could potentially do it for Brazil that are quite high up on the list for Brazil, Argentina, and France. And Richarlison is one of the lower ones down when it comes to his kind of colleagues around him, but
colleagues.
I do think he could do something because of the way he plays and the position he's in for Brazil. Darwin Núñez as well is another one, of course. And then at the top of the list, you've got Harry Kane, Lionel Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Martinez, and then Ronaldo. I don't know. It's wrong to write off Ronaldo, isn't it? But
especially at tournaments. He's
got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if anyone's noticed lately, but
I thought he was being very subtle and refined recently.
And again, I think we'll get into that some Messi Ronaldo talk as well. Because that's exciting.
Yeah, but with Ronaldo, do you think? Maybe we can talk about it a little bit later. But do you think that all of this contract melee and everything going on at Man United, is it going to distract him from the job he needs to and should be doing for Portugal?
Yeah, because even though it looked like there was a lot in the camp as far as negativity, those clips come out, and now it sounds like I'm hearing kind of that they're actually quite on side with him. So it's it'll be interesting to see, because I did think, is this the time when they finally feel like, because years ago you could see like, I remember watching Euro 2016 and watching the players around him like in awe, almost like, oh my goodness, I'm like, I can't upset Ronaldo, you know, like, because he was just on another level, and it was like, I can't believe, and that team just kind of, they weren't quite there yet, you know. Ronaldo kind of pulled him through a lot, and as far as superstars go, the balance had gone. Now I feel like some of these Portuguese players are rising up the ranks, and they've been there around it a while, that they maybe are getting to the point where they go, you know what, I'm kind of sick of him. Do you know what I mean? And like, as his stock, you know, falls and theirs rises, there's going to be a bit of a change there, you know. So I thought there might be a few issues there, but it sounds like it's not been too bad lately. So
well, we'll see. It's pretty likely this will be his last big tournament anyway. So
yeah.
Well, I don't know. Have we got Euros next year? Have we got Euros next year?
No, it was
it's the year after.
Yeah.
You know, it was a weird timing. So this probably possibly is his last big tournament.
We're saying that there are 6 months less, well, 5 months less, you know, with, you know, so it is still got balance out some way. Well, it'd be 1.5, wouldn't it? Yeah,
1.5 for Euros. Yeah.
So just over. So, but then again,
he might make the Euros. He might.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? But Euros is, of course, is different. The World Cup, there's no chance. But I feel like there's no chance. But we'll get into a bit more of that in a bit. But moving back to Golden Boot. So you're going to go Giroud, right?
I think possibly Giroud. He gets a lot of game time. That whole team is set up around him. Listen, if you actually made a compilation of Giroud's top 10 goals and showed it to people 20 years in the future, he looks like Pele or Maradona.
Yeah, but he scored great goals, but he doesn't score.
He's smashing through records for France as well. Unfortunately, do I think he's the best player? No, statistically.
What about the World Cup though? Didn't he score no goals or something?
I don't know.
I swear Giroud got like no goals.
I don't know.
I got to look that up. I swear he got no goals.
I just don't think you can write Giroud off. Unfortunately, he's been written off too.
Yeah, he didn't score a single goal. He didn't score a goal, Michelle.
Exactly. Who needs to make up for it at this one?
I mean, I know a lot of people kind of jumped on him for that, but that's because of the way he was playing. He was still very helpful to the team. But do you think this time he'll be kind of put in that position?
I think he's out to prove a point, because a few people have questioned why Deschamps continues to choose him at his age.
Yeah,
good player. Not the quickest, you know.
And he's probably a little bit embarrassed and annoyed about that whole no goal thing himself. So
and then you know, you got people going, why isn't he starting Benzema ahead of Giroud? So I think Giroud's gonna have a bit of a chip on his shoulder and want to show everyone why Didier keeps him. But you know, I think Neymar is in with a really good shout.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for one of the big kind of heavy hitters there, and I'm gonna go for. I'm tempted to go Messi because of the story, but I think I will go Neymar. I think he was another person who didn't have the greatest, hasn't had the greatest World Cup showings. Well, not to the level that I think where people at the end of it go, that was his World Cup, and I think this could be it for Neymar.
I think as well, he seems to have just found his stride a little bit more this season. It just feels like he's just settled down a bit. There always is talk about him leaving PSG and only being there for the money, but I think having his old mate Lionel with him, and then obviously the competition of Mbappe wanting to be the best out of that front three, I think it's just given him a little bit of a kick up the arse, to be honest with you. So
no, I can see that. So that's Golden Boot out of the way. Let's get on to. Should we do
the Golden Glove?
Golden Glove. Let me get the odds up for this as well. Let's have a look. Right. It looks like. All right. Top of the list seems to be Alisson, Martinez, Courtois, Neuer, Lloris.
Lloris, really?
Yeah. And then it goes quite. Yeah, I mean, Jordan Pickford ain't high up on that list. Just for us, Kasper Schmeichel's quite low. Szczesny's very low.
Szczesny will be very low. Yeah. I think part of the reason Pickford's low is people aren't entirely sure he's going to start every game.
Yeah, I guess. I'm going to go first with this one. I'm going to say Martinez, just because that run that he had in the FA Cup for Arsenal, I think was so good. And I think I know West Ham haven't been great lately. Sorry, West Ham, Aston Villa haven't been great
Whatever,
lately.
same thing. They wear the same colours.
Yeah, that's the other ex Arsenal keeper as well. But yeah, Aston Villa haven't been great lately. Of course, started to turn a little bit of a corner there just before the break, but I think he's an incredible keeper. He had a great start there. He had a great kind of end to his career at Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal fans are a bit sour about the way it went down. But I personally think he's a fantastic keeper. And I think it was a big part of helping Messi get to his first national trophy as well. And I think this is going to be a big part of it here as well. I do think that they are a solid team that look like they're going to go pretty much all the way, if not all the way to the actual trophy. And because of that, I think you need to have a pretty decent guy between the sticks. And I think Martinez might not feel like that guy to a lot of people, but I think his trophies in what few kind of times he's had to represent at a top level, the FA Cup final, and again for Argentina, they speak for themselves. And I think
I think it is really dependent on that back 3, 4, 5 that are playing in front of him as well, and how good the communication is there. Something that worries me a little bit about Pickford, for example, is I don't really know who the centre-back pairing are that's going to go in front of him. And there's a lot of chit-chat around them playing Maguire just because Pickford and Maguire are used to playing together.
Yeah.
Rather than anything form-related. I think Martinez is going to find a bit of form again, or has started to find a bit of form again, and he was important in that Copa America trophy with Messi and co. I do think, I don't know how I feel about Alisson. I know he's top for it, but he's got some mistakes in him, and we've seen it this season at Liverpool. He's very, very good. I'll never take away from that. He's very, very good. But then I'm looking at him and I'm looking at some of the errors that have happened where him and the back line haven't communicated properly or whatever, and he doesn't look the same keeper he was 2 or 3 years ago. Because he had that injury, didn't he? And then he's still excellent, but he's not quite been the same since he's come back from it.
But these World Cups are chances to kind of shake up, form does go out the window in tournament football, and
it does. And he's got some very experienced players in front of him in that back line that he'll know very well. I think you can't write off Manuel Neuer. He's an excellent keeper. There's a lot of very strong German goalkeepers at the moment, and Neuer has had that spot pretty secure for quite a while, actually. And they're just very, very organised, the German defence. So I do think it is most likely going to go to Martinez.
Okay, well, in agreement there. Nice Arsenal contingent there for us, even though most Arsenal fans aren't on that side anymore. Got to be realistic. I think he was a great player for us when he was.
He did the job when we needed him to.
Yeah. Let's get into another side of the game, and we're going to talk the dirtiest team. Who's going to get the most cards overall?
They've got Pepe. It's Portugal.
All right. I haven't thought about that much, and now you've kind of swayed me into it.
Portugal. Actually, I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure Ghana have got quite a bad track record for Reds, haven't they?
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could be getting them confused with another country, but I'm fairly sure Ghana have picked up a few over the years. I still go in Portugal. I'm
looking at a table here, which I think is overall in history. Now, of course, this is going to play more in the kind of detriment to the teams that are like there all the time, and they're actually really good teams. So, because the highest on the list is Germany, and it's like, well, that's because they're pretty much always in the World Cup doing well and going far, so they're going to have more games to do it in. So, Germany, Argentina, Brazil, Italy, Netherlands. But then it'd be interesting to see the stats between percentage of games that they play as well. Do you know what I mean? So, because then I think
you can't rule Pepe out of doing something stupid like trying to fly kick someone in the head in the middle of.
All right, that's enough for me. That's enough for me. I'm going Portugal as well. Then. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Now we're going to do a little bit of a fun one. And anyone, guys, watching on demand, watching live, we really do appreciate it. Of course, we want you to subscribe. We want you to be part of the conversation as well. So drop your comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen at the tournament. Who's going to win? Who's going to be golden boot? Who's going to get golden glove? Who's going to be the dirtiest team? And who's going to do what I think is the most fun one to predict here, Michelle? Which team is going to have the most special haircuts?
Oh.
I love it. I love a World Cup haircut. That's a really World Cup haircut. That's a weird thing to say, but I love when people dye their hair different colors. Do think about Ronaldo with that bit?
Oh, the Croatians did it once, didn't they? Was it the Croatians or the Czechs?
Oh, didn't no. They all went blonde. It was who did it? Who did it? They all went blonde. I'm trying to. Which team was it? It was. I could see it. I could see the picture. They wore red and yellow as well, which made it even funnier. Oh my goodness! Why is it coming up? Oh, Romania! Of course, it was Romania. Yeah, it was Romania. They all dyed their hair blonde. That was cool. I love that, especially when you see even at a team where it's happened with England quite a few times actually, where you see a little bit of blonde in someone's hair, someone else got a little streak, someone else has dyed their whole hair. It's like you've just had the leftovers there from their L'Oreal, whatever. Did L'Oreal do hair dye? I don't remember.
Yes,
but anyway, there we go. Oh, you should know. Look at you, flipping ginger spice.
Yeah, this is my.
I hope someone's got your haircut going on at this tournament. But yeah, what team's gonna have the most funky haircuts?
What, from the outset, or like if they make it to the final? Because that can be two different things.
No. Who's gonna be at the tournament with the most special haircuts? Now I know a lot of this is subjective. We did it in our World Cup 2002 chat. Again, check out the goal hanging episode on this channel where we talk football kits, but also went into a bit of fashion there as well as far as haircuts. And a lot of people were hit and miss about the famous Ronaldo thing. So we're not saying that's a weird haircut, so that counts, because some people have different opinions of what's kind of a standard haircut. But we're saying what's special. What's someone gone into the tournament changing? Like Phil Foden clearly had a different hair cut, or hair color at least, than he does usually when he went to the Euros. So that's what I'm talking about. Gaza, for example, his hair wasn't always bleached blonde. Same sort of thing. So which team's going to go full force on special hairdos?
I think it's going to be the Swiss.
What? I think they're the least likely.
No, because Granit Xhaka's hit the bleach before, and everyone loves him.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
I think the Swiss might be out.
I thought they'd be lower down the list, but you're right. I was going to say Brazil just because of like Neymar, but then again, how do you differentiate? Neymar's always got a funky haircut. But it's got to be different. Richarlison, yeah,
bleaches, isn't he? Oh my God! I don't want Gabby and Gabby to come back with ridiculous bleached hair.
Oh, it's Brazil. It's Brazil. It is Brazil. Brazil are going to do it. I can see it.
I think it's going to be the Swiss. I'm going with the Swiss.
All right, I'll go with Brazil on that one there. Again, let us know in the comments if
I'd say South Korea, but I don't think they're allowed, are they?
Are they not? What? No, what? I think you're mixing them up with North Korea.
Oh, yeah, probably. They used to have to do military service and stuff in South Korea.
Yeah, they do. It's just not to the same degree as the other side of the border. But all right,
I'm sticking to it. The Swiss are going to go crazy. They're going to do something wild.
Now that you mentioned Granit Xhaka, yeah, he does do funky things with his hair, but he's got a bit calm lately. You know, he's got a nice little
calm for the storm, lulling you into a full sense of security over the hair situation.
Gotcha. All right, so. Let's move into. Let's go back to more of a serious, a proper one now.
I want to talk about hair.
We've done the hair. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Right. I've got one. Who's going to be the most stylish touchline manager? Because it's hot. Gareth ain't going to be able to wear the waistcoat.
Oh, you know what? Oh. At the Euros, without doubt, is Mancini. That grey suit. Oof. But no, obviously, he's not going to be there. Yeah,
suits are going to be a problem in this heat.
Yeah, no one can wear a Christmas jumper either.
I don't like tracksuit managers. It's a problem.
It'll be polo shirts. That's what it'll be. You know, it'll be polo shirts, which I don't mind. But polo shirts in the heat, They don't look good. You know, they stick to you. The sweat patches. They get out of shape easily. Polo shirts is a nice kind of middle ground weather, but people are going to do it because it's smart casual, isn't it? So we ain't going to see any kind of jumpers that we see often in management if they're not going for the suit. So I think
we might see some like beige linen trousers and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, right. The smartest dressed manager is going to be. I think it's going to be a manager that no one really knows. They're going to kind of put their stake out there to be, you know. Let's have a look. Who's going to the World Cup?
Roberto Martinez is always fairly well turned out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Is.
No, you know who it's going to be? It's going to be
Didier Deschamps.
No, it's going to be Louis van Gaal.
He looks like a foot.
No, I think he's gonna turn on the classy kind of older manager thing. You know, like almost like who else? Who's that reminding me of?
Uncle Carlo.
Yeah, like yes, like that. Van Gaal's gonna try and be the next Carlo Ancelotti.
Will he write a cookery book? Probably not. So.
Oh, has he got a cookery book?
Carlo Ancelotti does, yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I have to look into that. Who do you reckon? Who's going to be the best dressed manager?
It's not going to be the USA. They're going to be like tracksuits and baseball caps.
Yeah.
I think Joachim Low always was no,
he's gone, isn't it? He's not the manager.
I was like, what am I talking about? He went ages ago. He was always a polo shirt manager anyway.
Yeah, and he couldn't survive it. I think it's too high up the neck, that.
Yeah, too high up the neck. I'd have to actually Louis van Gaal's probably a good shout. He probably will stick to the suit. I
think Deschamps could be a good shout though.
Deschamps usually in a suit, isn't he? Didier, wonder if the South Korean manager wear a suit. I've opened up this question, not really giving it much thought myself. I was just thinking, I don't think Gareth can wear the waistcoat because
no. He didn't even do that at the Euros, did he? So
no, he didn't. Is Arsene there? Arsene's going to be there, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure because he's got a FIFA job. Yeah,
but
he ain't a manager, not anymore.
He's still the world's best dressed man.
Well,
did you see his photo shoot he did for like?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
I did. Yeah, it was great.
Silver Fox, mate, love it. Best looking man at the tournament.
All right, then we'll open it up further than managers, even though it was your idea. Now we've done a few silly ones, Michelle. I think it is time we get back to a proper prediction again. Let's go with our dark horses, and then this is the dark horse. I'm going to do this in two ways. First, we do the dark horse for who could actually win.
Okay.
So it's got to be realistic, but not a let's say not a team that have won it before.
Okay.
Or any time recently, right?
Okay.
And then we'll do a dark horse in the sense that they're going to get further than people think. I guess an overachiever, right? So dark horse, first of all, and someone that you think could win it, that either haven't won it before or haven't won it for a long time. Now, for me, I'd still go with someone that's won it before, so I'm going to go with Uruguay.
Yeah, Uruguay are a possibility. They've got a bit of firepower in there, haven't they? If we go in South America, I'm going to go Uruguay.
You think Uruguay?
Possibly. I think a very outside chance, but again, don't write off the Swiss. I've got some sort of weird Swiss agenda today.
The Swiss dress up nice, dress their hair up nice, and go all the way.
Who else? I think when we did the predictions, none of us really thought about any of the African teams. Now, obviously, your obvious one would be Senegal, but they're going to be without Sadio Mane. They are. But you've also got to bear in mind, a lot of them are much more used to playing in these hot temperatures than a lot of the European teams.
Yeah.
I think Uruguay, real outside, and I mean real outside, and I don't think they do it. No, actually, that's for my next dark horse prediction. Never mind.
Okay.
I think Uruguay or possibly the Swiss, maybe.
Okay, right. Now let's go. Who's going to go further than people think they will, but they still won't win it?
Mexico.
So you're thinking I think people would expect Mexico to get to the 16. So you think they'll get to at least
I think they'll go a bit further. I think they might go quarters or semis. I think USA are going to go further than people think.
Yeah, I think USA is probably my pick.
Yeah.
Because I think people are still unsure what's going to happen in England's group, whether it's, USA or Wales grabbing that spot, or Iran.
Oh, you've also got Japan again.
Yeah, Japan, because they kind of were that last time round, weren't they? With 2018, so close with Belgium. But yeah, we kind of touched on that already, guys, in our original predictions debate on this channel. We talked a lot about Japan's chances. Belgium, of course, being the kind of tail end of the golden generation. And a lot of that chat really was about where these teams are in their cycle. Looking at the center of that graphic, of course, Lionel Messi as well. I think an interesting thing to start moving on to in just a second. Kay is watching live from Germany. Thank you so much for joining us, Kay. Really do appreciate anyone that's watching live or on demand. Drop your comments. Let us know what you're thinking of the World Cup. Kay, who do you think is going to win? Are you German yourself, or do you just reside there? And will you be cheering on the German national team? Do you think they've got a good chance this year? It'd be interesting to hear what you think about that one. And again, anyone else joining us live or on demand, drop your comments. Let us know what you think of the stream and what you think of the World Cup in general. But let's get into some Messi Ronaldo chat, because that's a narrative I really do want to touch on, because I think it's always there in the World Cups, the potential.
It's been there for a really long time.
Yeah, exactly. For them to face each other and this be the moment. And Messi's come the closest, am I right? Because he's been in the final. Portugal haven't been in the final, have they? So,
not of a World Cup, I don't.
Yeah. So, now a few years ago, you could have said that Ronaldo was probably the best chance, to do that, because he'd got to the Euros and he could catapult from there, maybe in 2018. But then again, Messi had got to the final and lost it. And I would have said a few years ago that Ronaldo on a bigger stage would have appeared to be the more successful, as an international stage, I should say, because he'd won the Euros. Now, you could argue that the equivalent of that has now been won by Argentina, Lionel Messi. But let's be honest, the Euros is, I think, the more kind of impressive competition, just because there are so many more big teams in UEFA's ranks than there is in the South American competition. Same can be said for the AFCON as well. They're great. They're supposed to be seen as equals, but that's like saying the Premier League is equal to
Liga,
and it's not, is it? So, and that's okay. But
there is also the argument, isn't there, that the Ronaldos played in the Prem, he's played in the Liga, he's played in Serie A with varying degrees, and Messi, up until a year and a half ago, had only played in the Liga. There's an interesting thing around the way they're portrayed in the media as well. Messi, I think, certainly comes across in media portrayal as a lot more likable,
especially the last week or so.
Yeah, but I mean, look, has there ever really been a footballing rivalry between two greats, and they are two greats,
not at the same time like this,
consistent at the same time? And I think we're very, very lucky to be living through that. I don't think we're going to see that again for a very long time. And I think we are coming towards the end of it now. They're both in their mid to late 30s. It'll be really interesting to see how both of their colleagues, as you call them, or teammates, pull around them with all that in mind. Argentina beat Brazil for that Copa America, and Brazil are
I say how strong the Euro field is, but like, you still got Argentina over there and Uruguay. And it is still quite strong, but like, as a whole, for the competition as a whole,
I think you could argue that UEFA, but financially, Europe is probably a bit more financially better off and able to support grassroots football in
of course,
way to South America. It is going to be really, really interesting. Will the two teams meet? I believe there is a way that Portugal and Argentina may meet if certain results go a certain way, but it's looking more likely that Argentina and Brazil will meet, isn't it? Or something like that.
The way when we did our predictor, they ended up being in the semis. But it would be great to see it together. If it was the final, it would be crazy. But I think just even getting them two together, for both of them, this is the last dance for both of them. Realistically, I think if anyone's going to cling on a little bit longer, it would be Messi, just because he's younger. So he's more likely to reach another World Cup than Ronaldo. But then again, Ronaldo's kind of defied the odds so much when it comes to his age already. So, but I think realistically, another World Cup in 4 years' time, both of these guys are sadly going to be retired. But
or if they're not, I think they'll be in the squads, but they don't start every game. They come on as a game changer.
Level. But then again, they are such specimens. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
They
We've
really,
never had
really-
anything like this before. Sports science has never been as good as it is now. You know, to kind of help people prolong their careers. And stuff like
Ronaldo
that.
is notorious for his work ethic, isn't he? And his commitment to it all. But then you've also got to remember that Messi overcame like some sort of growth syndrome thing he had as a child.
I was saying actually, sorry, Messi said that this is his last international tournament. So Messi has said that actually. So that even though he's the most likely one, he's not anymore because he said no, I'm not doing it. Which Ronaldo doesn't seem to want to say anything about slowing down anytime soon. But yeah, that's it's an interesting narrative. I do hope. I think the football fans will be so blessed to see a Messi versus Ronaldo World Cup game, whether it be the final or just even to get to the final or something like that. It would be so fascinating to see these two together. They've actually done this photo shoot recently, or
yes, with the chessboard
and chess and stuff like that. They're kind of playing up to it, and you know they know what this is. Again, it's the last dance for both of them. But out of the two of them, who's more likely to leave with World Cup trophy? Now, for me, it's Messi now because of the team he's got around them at the moment. I think
Argentina looked stronger as a team than people do.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's crazy how things have throughout their careers gone. They've both been the centerpiece and kind of had to drag up people around them. They've
had entire teams built around them.
Yeah, they've had times where their supporting cast have been amazing. They've had times where they were coming through the ranks and they weren't, they were going to be the next big thing. It's been.
They've both had a bit of controversy, haven't they? Like Ronaldo moved to Juve and was good, but not quite as good as I think the Juve fans were expecting him to be. And Messi certainly last season experienced some of that from the PSG fans. They've both been the marquee signing that, haven't quite, not that I mean that neither of them have been bad. Like they've still both been very good. Since Real and Barcelona, but they both certainly felt moments where they weren't the fan favorite, and I think Ronaldo was certainly feeling that at the moment with Man United fans and non-Man United fans. Actually, for me, I think Messi's the one more likely to leave with a winner's medal.
I think so as well. But either way, it'd be amazing if we got to see them face off against each other at this World Cup. And hopefully the draw will be kind for that as well. Now we're going to start moving into the watch along segment of this, really, for the opening ceremony, because it's about to kick off. Going to get to a few more of these comments from Kay as well. Says, well done for your good work. Thank you very much, Kay. Much appreciated. Qatar wins today, Kay says. Ghana wins over Portugal. And now Ghana have young players. Okay, interesting. Like, of course, as we've been mentioning, one of the biggest players there as far as Portugal's kind of lack of, I wouldn't say lack of youth, but like quite, the average squad's age is going to be a bit higher now when you've got someone in like Ronaldo in your team.
And Pepe, who's about 82, isn't he?
There you go. So we're just waiting for, of course, we're in the UK, so we're waiting for the BBC stream to basically start off with the World Cup coverage here. We're going to be kind of commenting on our thoughts of the opening ceremony. Again, we're knocking on a bit, guys, so we might not recognize who some of the artists are.
Speak for yourself.
I thought you'd say that.
I'm actually the older one, so.
But again, let us know what you think is going to happen at this World Cup. Thank you so much for joining us on this kickoff stream. We're going to try and cover as much of the World Cup as we can. So if you want to see certain things from us, let us know as well. And we've got a lot of kind of archive content on the channel when it comes to interesting football pieces, especially our goal hanging World Cup 2002 special. I definitely would recommend checking it out when you get some time as well. And of course, as we mentioned earlier on, our main predictions debate as well. Because you're here for the kickoff party, and we are about to kick off the World Cup, which feels strange to say, Michelle. I mean, it's
November. It's weird.
I've waited for this for 4 years, of course, as we all have, 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
And it's honestly, the World Cup is one of my it's one of my favorite things in life. Like you look back on it just is. As soon as it's over, I can't wait for the next World Cup. Even at times where my football fandom, as I was growing up, I dipped in and out of being how much into football I was. My late teens, not that into it as much as I was when I was a kid. Then it kind of that love kind of and that fire came back for me. Even in those times, I remember watching the 2010 World Cup and the 2006 World Cup. That's the kind of gap for those two for me. And I was majorly into both of those, especially
Yeah.
2010 World Cup. I know it's not regarded as one of the better World Cups, but
It
I have a real
certainly
soft spot
brings
for it.
people together, doesn't it? Like even people that aren't normally into football get involved.
Yeah, well, the casual fans get into it. And
Yeah.
cool little intro here, by the way, from the BBC. Wild graphics and stuff like that. Oh man, even that, like seeing this is it, man. Like we're ready to go. We're on track for the World Cup now. We're about to kick off. And
Yeah.
but again, like even
Here he
that
is,
though, Michelle,
Ronaldo.
talking over the years, just how many things I've kind of memories that link back to it. We talk about, of course it's different now being in winter, but being in the beer gardens, and then you think back to when you're a kid and then wheeling at the TV, and you think back to kind of like the first time you can go out drinking with your friends and you go to the pub for the first time in a World Cup. It's such, because it's every 4 years, it's such a big part of your life. You can look back on each part and be like, oh, that reminds me of this part of my life. And that's what I love about the World Cup.
I can tell you exactly. The 2002 World Cup reminds me of a pub in Hendon called the Cladder Ring, which is around the school from my old, around the corner from my old school, because I was in sixth form when it was on. That's right, ladies and gents. That's how old I am. And I remember because the time, and we talked about it actually when we did the World Cup thing at
Classic.
But like the timing of it meant that because I was in sixth form and I didn't have lessons all day, I could like nip down the pub and watch the football and go back to initially at A level. So it just reminds me of being in the Cladder Ring with my friends. And I was
so that's what I love about it.
I mean, now, 18. I can't say 17.
Yeah, Gary Lincoln have just opened up with a kind of interesting statement there called starting up straight away, being like, "This is controversial." But again, like I do hope once the football kick off. I'm not saying we should ignore the problems. We should definitely tackle them, and I think we're going to get a lot of that throughout the World Cup. But let's not take away the reason why we're all tuning in. I know some people are boycotting it and stuff like that, but as we just said there, the World Cup is such a big thing. I wish it was somewhere else. It is where it is. I think it's no coincidence the nations that have ended up getting a World Cup in the past few years goes around. But hey, next up, maybe we'll turn a new leaf with the triple header. That's going to be interesting as well because, USA, Canada, and Mexico, that's 3 teams automatically getting a space in the World Cup. I know they're going to extend how many teams are in it at that World Cup as well. So that
are they going to 40 for that one? Or
well, what is it now? It's 32. So is it
32?
It's not.
So if they went to 40, that would be 2 more groups. But I don't know how that would work for the knockout stages unless they added 4 more groups.
I think it might be 48.
Nope.
Something mad like that.
I mean, to be honest with you, there is a relatively good chance that USA and Mexico would qualify anyway.
Oh, yeah. So I think Mexico are usually a sure thing. And in Canada are clearly doing good enough to get there this time. So, it's going to be 48 teams. Flipping heck.
Do you know what that means? More football. It's fine.
Yeah. That means in the future, when we do a throwback episode on the 2026 World Cup kits, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I think also as well, like we were saying earlier about USA having the infrastructure, if you're going to extend it and make it bigger than any other year, that's probably the best place to do it. But also the USA and Canada and Mexico is huge.
Yeah, I know.
So the travel's going to be interesting. So maybe that's why they're going for 48 teams, so they can have longer gaps between.
But that'll be it going forward, though, won't it? Surely they won't put it back down to 32. So that devalues it for me, though. That many teams devalues it. But hey, it is what it is.
But then you've got flipping all the Nations League stuff and everything, as well as the Euro, and it's it's when. As much as I love Wenger, when he turned around and said we should have a World Cup every 2 years, I was like, you've lost it, mate. No, that's not a good idea.
The World Cup's special because it's every 4 years. Like, that is why. And we're good having a gap in between. I can't go 4 years without an international tournament, but that's where we have the ones in between to help us along the way.
Yeah.
So,
and the fact that they now, the women's football's picking up a much bigger profile, a much bigger following, and they kind of do theirs on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
They do theirs in the odd number years, and the men's do in the evening. So we do basically now get a decent tournament every year.
Yeah, I mean, a few months away, we have got the Women's World Cup to look forward to as well.
New Zealand, Australia, isn't it?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting as well. I'm sure the kickoff times are going to be a bit out there for us, but hey, I'm looking forward to it. It was a great.
But again, I wonder if they're going to put it on late because of the heat. Oh, actually, no, it'd be winter over there, so no, ignore me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe go early. Well, even early is cold as well. Where are we on the stream, by the way, Michelle? Because you're watching on the TV. I'm watching iPlayer, which is
I'm watching
notoriously
TV.
behind.
So at the moment, they've just showed some clips of the England team training, and
all right. Well, you're in front of me then.
I'm a little bit ahead of you. I'm a little bit ahead of you.
I'm going to try and refresh and see if I can catch up there.
I mean, it was just a lot of Eric Dyer running about looking a bit knackered, so you've not really missed very much.
Yeah, but still, if something exciting happens on the ceremony, someone pops up from the ground, flies through
Oh
the
my
air.
God, what if they dig up Ozzy Osbourne?
He's not dead, mate.
He may as well be.
Come on now. Right.
He did the Commonwealth Games, didn't he?
So, going back to what we were saying about being in America and stuff like that, I really want to go to the World Cup sometime in my life. And that is one. The excuse to go to a World Cup and get to visit America, Canada, and Mexico. Yeah. I mean, look, I clearly have a thing for
USA.
The USA World Cup in '94, even though England weren't part of it. I find that World Cup is fascinating to me. Just the presentation of it and stuff like that. Because again, as you talk about America just going big, I can't wait to see what they do with this World Cup, and I'd love to be a part of it.
It'll be really interesting looking. I think the travel within the States would be good. Obviously, in Canada, I've got a few friends who've been to Canada who basically said if you want to get anywhere, you need to be able to drive.
Right, yeah.
And there's things are going into place, which I imagine they probably are.
I guess over the major cities, though, they'll have all the transport infrastructure as well.
Yeah. They'll play in the big cities like Toronto and Vancouver and stuff. It'd be interested to see. I don't know which stadiums they're using across the three countries yet. They probably are in the process of figuring it all out.
I think they've all been announced, actually. I'm sure they have all been.
Probably they'll be using some of the nice big ones. Like I'm sure they'll be using LA Galaxy, and Inter Miami will probably be used because that's quite a new stadium.
Yeah.
You know, so. God, I'm looking at it now. They're showing some footage of Qatar, and it just looks absolutely roasting.
Really, yeah. See, I'm not on that yet. I'm still with them in the studio, and behind them it is pitch black. So you forget the time difference. Although the games are at decent times for us to watch, as long as you haven't got work in the day. But what we've got here though is a night game. Clearly, it's not even the game yet. It's the opening ceremony, and it's pitch black.
Yeah, I mean, England kick off at 1 p.m. our time tomorrow. That's still well into the evening, isn't it?
Yeah. What is the time difference? Let's have a look then.
I don't know. Is it really like Mohammed? I can't remember. His whole name's gone really. Sorry, Mohammed bin something Tani was just on, and he really looked like Carlos Sainz, the Formula One driver. It was quite
As a reference. They're free. Well, they're only 3 hours in front. It's 90 minutes past 6 there.
Mind you, I mean, even now the sun's starting to go away here.
Maybe that's not the sky behind them.
Maybe not. I don't know. FIFA Ethics Committee report. Well, there we go. They're going straight into the controversy in the BBC News coverage here. So.
Really?
Yeah. I suppose. Look, it's going to happen, isn't it? Regardless, and people are going to say what they're going to say.
I think at the start as well, you got to talk about a lot at the start. Oh, here we go. Yeah, BBC coverage from me as well.
Yeah,
this is so weird.
Sadly, the stadium that England are playing in tomorrow, one of the British workers died there while building it. Guy from Hove. Yeah. So it's a bit.
Well, that's I mean, there's been a lot of that. Of course, big part of the controversy in itself. We haven't even touched on that, but I
mean, Qatar doesn't even have its own football league, does it?
Does it not?
I don't think so. So, what are all these stadiums actually going to be used for? They just seem to be.
Well, I think a lot of these things. That's what's quite sad about with the Olympics as well. These glorious venues become kind of abandoned after it. It was only really the 2012 Olympics that started to change that and repurpose the venues, make sure there was a plan after it, but it's quite a shame really, but I imagine do you know what, one of them, I did see a video, one of them is going to be it could be I think it's going to be just like packed away, like it's like it was a really, I can't remember,
stadium.
It was like it could be, sure it could be transferred into something.
Where else did we see that the pop-up stadium thing? Was that Russia?
Yeah, didn't they had extra stands or something like
Yeah,
that?
they were really, really high up. It just seems like a massive waste of money and human lives.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, here he is, David Beckham.
What's he saying?
I've never seen anything like this before. You and me both, buddy.
Nice.
You and me both. Yeah, it's interesting though, because there's a lot of us getting on our high horses about this, but we've got to remember a number of quite prolific British football teams are sponsored by Middle Eastern companies.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I mean, I feel like the fans are just taking for a ride. They're like, you ain't gonna, realistically, that many of us aren't really gonna boycott it, and people don't want to. It's the people's game. Do you know what I mean? It's been taken away from the people in so many ways already, and it's like we're just taking for a ride. Like so much of it, yeah, like you say there, that we disagree with the way that certain clubs have been taken over, the Super League, the sanitization of the match day experience. You know, like it's. I mean, money's always been in the game. Don't get me wrong, but we're at a scary kind of crossroads here in football.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I mean, we kind of talked about it slightly unrelated, but when we were talking on the wrestling podcast about crown jewel predictions and stuff, is this a little bit of short-term loss for long-term gain for FIFA and the other footballing bodies because of the money aspect of it, or are they willing to take the hit to their reputation short-term? Because let's face it, 10, 20 years time, people are still going to watch football. People are still going to buy World Cup tickets. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that one shouldn't have happened in Qatar, but people aren't going to suddenly not go to the USA one.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, have they kind of weighed the risks up of the publicity versus the money and gone, it's worth taking the hit?
That's it. I mean, and are they just getting on that train before it leaves without them anyway? Do you know what I mean? Like all this money is going to all these organizations, like you say, and football's been taken over by that kind of thing already. So
the cost of World Cup. So the Russian World Cup cost $13.9 billion. This Qatari one has cost $200 billion.
Wait, how much was the other one? $13.9
billion.
200.
It's over $200 billion.
But that's the problem, because Russia didn't have to build all these stadiums like this. I mean,
no, they just had to do some upgrading and whatnot. You know,
yeah, that's the thing.
I'm unclear whether this means it's not pitch black behind them now. I'm unclear whether this means FIFA have paid this money or the Qatari government have paid this money.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was under the impression if you bid for a World Cup, you kind of had to have the stuff there and be able to do most of it yourself with a little bit of input from FIFA.
Yeah, I have no idea how that sort of thing works, to be honest. Like, yeah, I don't know, because again, going back to wrestling, for example, we cover wrestling on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, because this is a Rebellious Noise Football channel. Thanks for joining us. If you like that, join us over there as well. But for that, for example, like they don't have to pay for venues or anything like that now. For like WrestleMania, for example, or even Clash at the Castle, which was in Cardiff, they were paid to go there because they knew the tourism that would come, they would get so much money for it. So if you have the infrastructure already, and they call it a bid, so you know they're paying for stuff as well. But yeah, but I guess the thing is, for Qatar, they spend 220 billion. I've seen that graphic now, but they will get a lot of money back from the people coming into the cities and stuff like that. But they almost can't get as much as other places because they don't allow certain things, you know? So
yeah, you can't get, there'll be certain bits of merch they won't be able to sell. There will be, you know, the whole alcohol thing is big money maker for a lot of local businesses that in non-dry countries. You know, you are going to have the reluctance of certain social groups to go to Qatar because of different laws that were in place there, you know. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, that stadium is big that I can see behind them that they're sat in. There are rumours doing the rounds they're paying local people to wear shirts and pose to be football.
Oh yeah, so that's the thing. So I've seen even kind of two sides of that, because a lot of them are saying no, these are people from kind of neighboring countries and things like that. Apparently, a lot of people come from India who out there because those teams don't usually make the World Cup, and because they're such big fans of the Premier League and stuff like that, they take on. I've seen videos. I got to say, I've seen videos over the years where like in articles where this village, for example, are like half Argentina, half Brazil. They're like they treat it like a clubs thing, and that happens. So a lot of people say, no, that's who these people are. You're missing a point there. It's easy for them to get there. Like it's not far for them to go. They finally got. That's their chance to support England from a. Now you could argue. Yeah. People from other nations supporting other nations is confusing. I would do that when it comes down to clubs. So I'm not a Man United fan. We know a few of them. But you know, for me, football's supposed to represent where you're from for the most part. And the least you could do is your own nation. Do you know what I mean? Like I like other teams, but I'm not
really an England fan. I think we're crap, actually.
I
support us on principle.
Yeah, there's that side of it. But I guess that's easy for us to say. As much as we moan about England, we are pretty much always in the major competitions. Only a handful of times we haven't made it. Whereas countries like that don't get those opportunities. So I can see why they maybe 100%. Gravitate to the teams that do get to go. So I've heard that that's actually them.
It could be both.
Not paid. But that's what I think it is. I think it's a mix of both.
I think there's both. I mean, look, but also at the same time, like, I do support clubs in other countries. I do have a Bundesliga team and a Bundesliga Zwei team. And, if England go out, I'm probably going to throw my energies behind the Dutch because, we had lots of iconic Dutch players.
I'm the same,
Arsenal, and, I quite like the colour orange as well, clearly. So, and
maybe that's it. If your country aren't in it, you go for another team anyway. But
part of me, I'll get slaughtered for this after the Euros, but I've always quite liked the Italians because I think they're the last of a dying breed of proper defending, and things like that. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You'd never catch me cheering Tottenham on in a Champions League final. But
No, I get you. Yeah. Now, of course, they're playing the, on my stream at least, they're playing the press conference that we were talking about earlier on. They've come back now, reactions to it. But again, like I understand the BBC have got to go full force on this as far as talking about their they're kind of justifying why they're covering it in some ways. Do you know what I mean? They got to be like, yep, we agree, this stuff's crazy, and then they got to be like, here's the football. This is why we're here.
Yeah, definitely. And well, they're splitting it between BBC and ITV, aren't they?
Yeah.
ITV,
it'll be interesting to see what their first approach is.
What their first thing, especially because ITV, I feel don't have on us in terms of news reporting and political reporting are not out there in the same way that BBC are. Like everyone knows about BBC News, but then have ITV dodged a bullet by not drawing the first game because they rotor on and off, don't they? So therefore they don't have to do all the preamble before the first game. They can just go straight into, well, the tournament started, here's the game.
Yeah, I think they still will, but not as much. They'll kind of, like you say, dodge that, but they won't have as much time to talk about it because it won't be like this where they're covering an opening. But then again, if this was two other teams, they'd be talking about the teams a lot more as well. They've kind of got lucky in that sense where they can afford to talk about other stuff because what have these people really got to say about Qatar versus Ecuador?
Ecuador, yeah. I mean, I think you probably could say a little bit about Ecuador, but like Qatar are not a big hitter in international football, are they? Though I'm looking at them all, I've been talking about the heat. Maybe there's a lot of air conditioning in that studio, but they're not all sat about in shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah, they're looking all right. They're looking all right.
Too sweaty.
Got long sleeves there as well.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting to see. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of football coverage across lots of different channels seems to have a lot more pitch side commentary going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? A lot more interviews at pitch side. There's also a lot more women contributing to commentary and punditry. And I know Qatar is not Iran, but how many female pundits are we going to see outside of the localized BBC studio and ITV setting? Because it's not going to be.
Well, that's outside. I think outside the stadium. Inside, you're only going to, like, let's say it's a match between the Netherlands and Spain. Most of the fans are going to be from there, and I'm sure there'll be locals as well. But
yeah, that'd be interesting.
It's so strange. It is surreal watching the opening for the World Cup, and we are talking this much. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be. I'm just saying it is a strange situation to be in.
But, you know, look, we're living in 2022 and we're having to go back to fundamental basic human rights while we're talking about
Yeah.
the World Cup, and that's worrying.
That's what's wrong with it.
And all the
But then
progress.
the same argument we say with the WWE stuff, like the argument there is that since they've been there, the women have had more of a prominent role. So you can't
Yeah.
bury your head in the sand. You need to kind of meet them in the middle and hopefully drag them into the 21st century, you know? So
Yeah, definitely. I think,
we'll
but
just
there
do
is a
that.
little bit of a worry with all the progress that's been made, particularly around the women's Euros and everything. Is this World Cup potentially going to set everything back in terms of attitudes towards people of different sexual preferences, different genders, different races? You know, I just don't know. I don't live in Qatar. I haven't been to Qatar. I think it is one of the more liberal Middle Eastern countries, isn't it? I could be wrong.
Yeah, not the best knowledge on it myself, to be honest.
I don't really know too much about it.
Well, I mean, all I know is the kind of the bad human rights record and stuff like that, and the laws as they're kind of touching on here with BBC.
The wages and people dying on the job and stuff. That's not good. It's really not good at all. But now we actually have a live news political correspondent in London. Jeremy Bowen.
I'm a little bit behind you now. I might have to get to my TV.
Get to your TV. But I can't hear what they're saying because I'm talking to you. But I'm just waiting for some young pop artists to come out that I don't know. I think. Look, I'm just thinking about things like when they do the F1 over in that's in Abu Dhabi this weekend, you know, and things like that, and the WWE and things like that. They do like to make a real show of it, so I'd be interested to see how much they're going to put into this opening.
Yeah.
I know it's never as big as like.
Well, there's some fireworks the other day, and they looked incredible. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, it would be interesting. All right, cool. I'm going to relocate then. I'm going to get my TV set up, and I'm going to go to the toilet. Michelle, do you want me to leave you on here talking to yourself, or do you want me to kick you out for a few minutes and we'll reconvene?
Kick me out for a few minutes and we'll reconvene because I too need to go to the bathroom. I'm thinking about moving on the sofa so I don't keep doing this between screens.
Let me get up a little graphic for anyone. So anyone watching with us live, please stick with us for a few minutes. We will be back in just a moment. We're going to keep the stream running live, but just in case anyone joins us and doesn't know, I was going to say let them know, guys, but
you won't be able to. Sorry.
Let's get up our little kind of be back in a moment. Hold on.
He's got all the tricks, viewers. I don't do any of it. I just come on and talk about Granite Jacker's hair.
There we go. Look at that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. So, guys, stick with us in just a few moments. We're going to be back here continuing our World Cup kickoff party. If you're watching on demand, feel free to just skip ahead. But we hope you stay with us if you are live. And we'll see you in just a few moments. All right, so let's get back to it. All right, so thanks for everyone that's stuck with us. Live or on demand. I've relocated. It's been an absolute nightmare because I've got it on the TV now, but I was trying to make sure, obviously, for copyright reasons, we need to be careful with the audio. So then I was like, I'll get on my headphones, but I can't turn it down. It's ridiculously loud that I wouldn't be able to hear you. So back to no audio, just like how you are. So here we are.
Here we are. Yep, it's fine.
Right. Have I missed anything exciting?
No, I was just on Uber Eats seeing if I could get a roast dinner delivered.
Okay, not with your life. I meant with the football.
No, I mean, they showed some of the press conferences and James Maddison talking about how the England team are about equality and diversity, and they're aware of some of the issues surrounding the World Cup. I think he definitely had been pre-briefed by the media about, and the PR team, about how to phrase it.
Right.
They haven't touched upon it, but I do think it'd be interesting to see if they bring up the rainbow armband thing, because apparently Harry Kane is set to defy FIFA's orders and wear it.
Okay, yeah, because I saw the photo shoot with it. Yeah.
So I mean, if Harry Kane sticks to his guns and wears it, you know, absolute fair play to him. Because that's, yeah, I don't know, like that is something you could potentially be issued a penalty by FIFA, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's where a lot of the argument come in with this as well. Like, if FIFA are putting themselves across as equality and all this stuff, then you can argue as much as you want that we go to these different countries and respect their customs and stuff like that. But when it comes to the human rights stuff, and it's like, if you're going to host it, and if you're going to be a company that puts yourself across with all these kind of ideals, but then they don't, on the biggest stage, with your biggest competition, you don't actually care, then it just shows you doesn't really. What's more important, basically, you know?
Yeah,
so
what is more important? Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of criticism of some of the presenters that have agreed to present at the World Cup, but there we go. It is what it is. I mean, the stadiums do look very nice on a superficial level, like they're showing them now. Will they actually work on a functional level? Who knows?
I'm guessing this one's a live shot there. We just saw, of course, from above. That is the opening stadium.
Wow.
Looks busy. Busy.
Yeah, and also we had someone in the comments earlier saying they thought Qatar might win today. There is obviously.
Oh, let's get into that.
Well, there's the controversy, isn't there, that there's a potential investigation around the amount of penalties they've been awarded in their behind closed doors friendlies recently.
Yeah.
But obviously I think they know they can't actually do that on the world stage. So
I don't know about that. I mean, there have been some controversial and confusing decisions over the years in World Cup games. We've which
referee at England sending this year?
Probably none. We didn't even have a representative last time, did we? Because our standard.
We have got one going. We've got one going because it used to be Clattenburg used to take them, didn't he?
Right. Yeah. So.
I'm going to Google it.
No idea. No idea. But yeah, touching on that again, like, of course, there's the rumor recently that come out that Ecuadorian players have been bribed as well. Again, you know, we've got to be clear that this is all rumors. We don't know at the moment. It's going to be interesting seeing if this does end up the way it was rumored, which was a 1-0 victory with the goal coming in the second half for Qatar. It would be quite ironic if that was the case.
That would be awful. There's a couple of female referees going.
Okay, good.
The French one, Stephanie Frappa. She's going to be there.
Oh, very nice.
Japanese Yoshima Yamashita. She's going. Catherine Nesbitt. Karen Diaz. So there are some female referees, so that's good. I'm just trying to find, because I believe we were sending Howard Webb. Oh God. We're sending Howard Webb. Oh dear.
Oh dear. So he's going to help Belgium, the other Red Devils, eh? So Belgium might win it after all.
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, like, I think now, if that was true and they have been bribed and it is going to be thrown this first match, then it's not going to be the 1-0 second half victory that we've that was reported, because it's not a betting thing. If it was a betting thing, it would be like, oh, that's awkward. You got to stick to what it would be a literal kind of like, it's a publicity thing and pushing him to go through for that reason. We talked about on a predictions show as well that it's a very interesting makeup of the team, the way they've kind of created the team here for the World Cup as well. They've never qualified. It's the only time that of course, anytime you host the World Cup, you do qualify, but it's the first time that a host is in it for the first ever time, is what I've been told as well. So that's an interesting
South Africa
point.
had been to a World Cup before they hosted, hadn't they?
I think so. It must have been, because that's what I heard people saying before about Qatar, that it was the first time. So I'd imagine so.
Yeah. I mean, look, would Ecuador take the bribe knowing that they possibly have enough in the tank to still come out of the group? I don't know.
It's just the integrity of football for you, Like, of course, recently in the news we've had the Ivan Toney thing as well.
Oh, got 232 counts of breach
what degree as well, and like it's a really strange thing. Of course, there's always been a risk, but we had the thing in Italy, of course, years ago with all the the league titles had to be stripped and stuff like that. So it's not like this hasn't happened before. But
I think the Ivan Toney thing, I think a lot of people were questioning why he didn't get an England call up, and I think that may have been it.
Yeah, I think they were holding off on that. I think they knew that. Yeah, which kind of is more.
There'll be a big loss for Brentford if he's going to get a ban.
Man, yeah, it's unfair it's a shame for them, especially if they're not do with it. Yeah. But it doesn't. We don't know what actually happened, but yeah, it looked strange when it come out not long before the World Cup, after the squad had got announced, and after he had that incredible performance against Man City, and of course celebrated with that in mind. Like, I didn't get a call up now. Look. But yeah, it's a real shame because he's a great talent, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. Of course, being Arsenal fans, we know this happened within the Arsenal ranks a while ago. And we haven't heard anything about that in ages. A lot of rumours about who it was. We won't really get into it because that's kind of unfair. It hasn't been publicised. At least the Ivan Toney stuff has. But
the betting stuff and the whole rape scandal.
What came of there's that as well. What came of the betting stuff? I don't know. So
I think Xhaka was investigated and he was cleared. I think they found there was nothing there.
Well, there you go. If it was nothing, then but Ivan Toney thing would it be nothing?
232 counts is an awful lot.
Yeah, but what to what degree? What did he? Oh, it's really hard to tell, isn't it?
And also, it's really difficult. How has he not just offhandedly turned around to one of his mates and made a comment and a kind of funny prediction based on stuff he sees in training every day?
Well, I watched a really interesting documentary on Netflix about a referee that was doing it in the NBA, and he still kind of aligns with I didn't fix the matches. I just told my friends that there are certain refs that have certain things against certain teams and certain players. And I 100% think that goes on in football.
Of course it does.
It's so obvious. Certain referees you can tell don't like certain clubs, and certain players are kind of don't get the benefit of doubt. Certain ones don't. And that's exactly what his argument was.
In an Arsenal game, I'm like, right, that's half our squad booked.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Everyone has their biases. No matter how professional you are, whether they're explicit or implicit, everyone has a giant beer. Still has.
Oh yeah. It looks way bigger now that I'm closer to the camera.
It does definitely. But you know what? Part of me thinks they wouldn't be stupid enough to really throw the opening game. But then you know what? There's been so much controversy around this tournament. Nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but imagine if it kicked off like that. It's just if there is some clear refereeing weirdness, for example, or a clear play, a player just weirdly scores an own goal, even if it's by accident, then this is going to set off a complete storm. It's another interesting point as well that this is the opening game because, of course, the hosts traditionally do kick off. But that's the thing is, let's be honest, these aren't teams setting the world on fire or anything like that, So I think that's another dampener for people.
I remember the first game at the Euros not being a set the world alight game as well.
Yeah, it's just I think that's played into people not being as excited. England's first game being a 1 o'clock game in the winter, I think, has also not helped on a Monday. Just talking from an England fans' perspective, and then what I've seen around, being in England and how our fans seem to be reacting to the World Cup, it just doesn't feel.
I mean, I remember when I was at school, they'd, if England were playing, they'd wheel the big TV out,
Yeah. I wonder if they're doing that for kids these days, but
I couldn't possibly comment.
On the TV we're sitting right now, England v Ecuador. Just that's the well that they go in with to try and find some knowledge about this match. On the BBC, we were looking at that from 2006.
Then look, we people are saying that Ecuador aren't going to set the world alight, but look at that, they finished above Colombia and Chile, who were two relatively strong teams in that South American.
Not to see Colombia not in this. Peru as well.
Yeah,
play
Chile again.
Chile,
yeah.
So... All right, let's do predictions then for the game. If this was any other time, I would say that Ecuador are going to win
quite substantially.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-0, but then I could always see the host nation just being so, the fans are on their side, the momentum, the excitement,
the old 12th man,
the 12th man, the heat and stuff like that. I would say they're at least going to get a goal. So I would have gone 2-0. I'm thinking 2-1.
I think 3-1 Ecuador.
I was tempted to go 3-1 because I still think there's going to be a gulf between the two of them. But then at the same time, with all the kind of controversy around it, I would not be at all surprised if it was true. Just because we've seen some weird stuff in the past.
Yeah. And I think that is in some ways the beauty of tournament football. All it takes is one player to have that really outstanding 90 minutes or that one player to have a car crash of 90 minutes. And it's not like a 38 game season. You're done when you get to knockouts. All it takes is Hugo Lloris to have a Hugo Howler in the quarters, as I like to call him, for France, and they're out, All it takes is Harry Kane missing a penalty in the quarters, and they're out, That is the fun thing about tournament football. It can go a little bit more wild card than longer competitions. But
talking about, the big teams in recent years, 2018, a lot of big teams kind of struggled early on.
Who do you think then, in terms of wild card, going to crash out earlier than people expect?
Okay. So the other side of it. Okay. I like that.
A big team just not getting because we kind of talked about it a bit in the prediction show, didn't we?
We did. Right. Oh, hold on. I just realized we've had the ad down the bottom there for the wrestling channel. So they can subscribe to the wrestling
it's all right. They can subscribe to both.
Yeah, there we go. Always worth advertising our other channels as well. But we are here on the football channel. Who do I think? Okay. Who's going to be the shocker, basically? The big team going out early.
The early exit.
The reverse dark horse. Let me get the groups up. All right.
I remember when we talked about this, we were talking about Spain having a bit of a shocker, despite
that was a big part there, weren't it?
Odds-wise, that they're on to do quite well, but there seems to be a massive divide for me in Spain of the old guard, as Pelacuetas and everyone, and your newer, younger players. There's not quite a gelling happening there at the moment, and obviously there was all the controversy around Spain giving their manager the boot a few days before the Euros kicked off last year as well. It just isn't the golden generation anymore, I think. Though what part of me is wanting to Belgium crash out early.
Yeah, I think maybe it would be Belgium. Let's have a look at the groups again. So can we see that good?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it's the Netherlands.
No.
I really hope it's not England. The only surprise.
It's going to be England, isn't it?
We're going for the big, although Mexico, I think, are decent. I think the bigger shot would be Argentina. I don't think it's going to be them.
Yeah, Argentina.
France is the curse, so that's an interesting one. Spain and Germany is the most likely because there's two heavy hitters in one group.
Yeah. Speaking of the French curse, though, as well, it's kind of already hit with some of their injuries.
Yeah, maybe this is the beginning, the end already for France. But still people out there that think France could win the whole thing. 2 World Cups in a row. What an achievement that would be.
Has anyone done it before?
Yeah, I think Italy and Brazil have done it. Next group with F is Belgium. I don't Croatia would think Croatia would be that much of a shock.
No.
They're definitely on the tail end of their kind of cycle. I think Belgium are too, but still just that whole golden generation narrative would be the big part of that. Brazil, I don't see it happen with them. Portugal, potentially. That's a tricky group as well. So I think it's more likely to be, and this isn't us saying they're not going to win it and they're definitely going out early, but if we had to pick one of the heavy hitters to go out in the group, for me it's going to be Portugal, Spain, or Germany, because Spain and Germany are in the same group. The two, Spain and Germany, on the main predictions debate, I was leaning into Spain being the ones that would go home early, if any. So I'm going to go, therefore, Spain or Portugal. And the implosion of the possible Ronaldo drama as well.
Yeah.
But
I think Spain or Belgium.
Spain or Belgium.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just
Canada,
do.
Morocco, Croatia. Because it only takes one bad game, like a bad start, to be on a bad foot.
It only takes one bad game. And Belgium are a little bit like the Dutch.
Because of that.
Never quite get over the line, do they?
I say Portugal. Because they could lose to Uruguay and they could have a slip up against Ghana or Korea. So I'm going to say Portugal. It's the most likely to be the reverse dark horse. In this as well. Yeah. Right. Well, we still haven't really got much of an opening ceremony going on.
Well, there's a giant World Cup in the middle.
Big old World Cup. Here we go. The president speaking now.
Is that? Oh, yeah.
Let's hope he's not saying the same stuff.
I am a gay. I am an Arab. I am a migrant worker. I am an overplayed Wallace. It can't be that hot. He's got a suit on.
Yeah.
Air conditioned box.
But he did say how much he likes that suit in his press conference as well. He did say
I really like
FIFA badge is really important to him. But which I'm sure it would be. If I worked for FIFA, I'd be pretty proud of being in, getting that role. But then again, am I proud of the thing that ties to? I don't know. They need a real fixing, man. They need a real kind of. But this is inevitable. It could have only gone one way, this stuff. Like, they knew this was coming, surely.
I think they were hoping the amount of money would hush some people up. Maybe. I think the whole thing needs restructuring, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
They've got rid of a lot of the key names from before. But it's still problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll continue to be problematic. Definitely. The Ecuadorians look quite relaxed, actually. Is this it? We're not actually really getting an opening ceremony.
What is going on? I thought we have an open ceremony.
Oh, it was going to be about fireworks and stuff. Have we missed something? Or are they gonna have they got a dance routine? Mine was 6 minutes from kickoff. Come on.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you what Fantino was saying. Okay, when the BBC people shut up, he's not speaking English, so I can't tell.
They're really helpful.
Oh, welcome, he said.
Welcome.
World Cup. Qatar 2022. Okay. Got a cheer.
I was expecting like some sort of performance and some fireworks.
So was I. There were so many rumours about people performing, people pulled out last minute. Trophy looks wicked though. A big old thing.
Could we get that for goal hanging?
Yeah. He said just welcome the teams, let the show begin. There we go. That was pretty much all he said.
Oh, so the performers pulled out?
No, well, I heard stuff before that, like there were going to be certain names, like big names, like you said, Dua Lipa. We said the guy from BTS as well, but maybe that's at half time. That's a weird thing to do, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they do that at the Super Bowl, don't they?
Yeah, but that's specifically the halftime show. So this open ceremony watch along has gone well, isn't it?
Yeah, really weird.
The match is due to start at 4.
Yeah, that's 5 minutes.
But now it's saying the opening ceremony was at 2 o'clock. What? So it weren't on TV.
Did we miss the opening ceremony?
But you think they'd show clips of that, right?
But also, BBC have got the coverage today, and BBC didn't start until 3.
Yeah, I know. But then you think when they come on, they go, "This was the opening ceremony earlier on."
Yeah, we haven't seen any of that. I'm very confused. So that was it. We've missed the opening ceremony.
Have we missed it?
We've done this really well. These Ecuadorians are
We
loving
would
it.
have had access to it anyway. Why would they not put it on TV?
Hang on, World Cup.
Fans furious. Okay, hold on. They didn't show it on TV.
Oh. Morgan Freeman was there. How did we miss that?
What the heck? What happened?
The opening ceremony is scheduled to start at 3 p.m. UK time. That's what it says. We've had this on since 3 p.m.
And now I've seen it was 2 p.m.
Oh, dear.
But it said it was shown on... That doesn't make sense. The game and the ceremony will be shown on BBC One.
Mm-hmm.
Who will be performing?
Yeah, the opening ceremony, the 2022 World Cup will be shown live on BBC One and BBC HD. The ceremony will be followed by live...
because there was rumours about Black Eyed Peas and Robbie Williams as well.
Doesn't he get rumoured for everything?
Robbie Williams?
He goes to the opening of a corner shop.
He did do the Russia one, didn't he?
I don't know. So who did it? Morgan Freeman and BTS. I'm very confused. I'm also very surprised that Morgan Freeman agreed to do it.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Disgraced Morgan Freeman kicks off World Cup opening ceremony in front of the Qatari royal family and rows of empty seats after weeks of criticism of the country's human rights record and hypocritical stars who overlook it.
What? Why is he disgraced? Because of this, or is he previously disgraced and I don't know anything about it?
I'm hoping it's because of this and not because of something previous we were very unaware of.
Yeah. Yeah, literally it's all happened. We missed all of it.
Narrated the events.
What the heck?
I think we've missed it then.
Oh, that's a shame. What a way to start the World Cup, Michelle.
Well, we've missed the opening ceremony. Morgan Freeman is disgraced. The
stadium is empty. So the K-pop dude did his thing.
With a Qatari singer.
Okay, that's interesting. Fair play. So no Robbie Williams then, no Black Eyed Peas.
And no Dua Lipa. Just a disgraced Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
Oh, the pictures look quite good, actually.
Yeah?
There's camels and everything.
Nice.
Marcel Desailly had the World Cup trophy. So I don't understand why he's disgraced. Is it because he's spoken out against the World Cup and then agreed to do it, or
who called him disgraced? What newspaper?
It was the Daily Mail.
Well,
I wouldn't read too much into it. Then.
If they've called you disgraced, you're probably doing all right in life.
Yeah. Have we got 5 subs rules here?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because yeah, that's a lot of substitutes I just saw there. Oh, Italy have been allowed to send referees though, as have Romania.
Ah, there you go. You're still taking part.
In a way.
VAR room being shown off as well.
2 Italians, a French, and a Polish. I love the way they're showing that they don't need the room empty. Oh, it's really weird watching it without sound.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
More prepared. We could have had our audio sorted, but we were so unprepared that we missed the opening ceremony.
Well, it did say 3. That's why we were starting.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of shirt grabbing in these graphics as well.
Yeah, there are. Look at that. They're loving them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least they've done the graphics. Have they got general graphics? Or BBC and ITV doing separate ones?
Oh yeah, I wonder if they're provided by FIFA.
Yeah, because otherwise all the players are going to have to film loads, aren't they?
It's all the official font and stuff like that from FIFA, so it probably is.
Yeah.
Maybe their own thing. I think gone are the days where people had individual graphics. It's got their own kind of intros and stuff like that, of course. But
I did see the footage of the 360 cams that BT Sport do with the Arsenal players the other day. They're quite fun.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, so the Ecuador manager's got a suit on.
Nice, good start.
I can't believe we missed the opening ceremony.
Oh no, gutted.
I'm as disgraced as Morgan Freeman.
We're the real disgrace, and I'm willing to accept that. Oh no, what a mess.
They look well up for it. That guy looks about 80. Who's that? Someone's making their World Cup debut. Are those people wearing white shirts or are they empty seats?
Ooh.
Actually, it's traditional for men in the Middle East to wear.
Oh
white.
There we go.
Men wear white, women wear black, I think.
Then we got all there's a lot of empty seats though. There are. As it zooms in there. There we go. So the World Cup 2022 in Qatar has kicked off.
It has.
And Qatar have gone for an attack straight away. I think this is a good time to start wrapping up then, guys. Thank you to everyone that's joined us on demand or live. We really do appreciate it. Drop your comments if you are watching on demand. Let us know what you think of this World Cup, what your predictions are and things like that going forward. We really do appreciate everyone that's joined us and commented today as well. We are, of course, a newer kind of Rebellious Noise channel. We're moving away from the main channel here as far as the football content goes on the Rebellious Noise Football Channel. So there's plenty more football content coming your way. And I'm sure we'll have a few things going on throughout the World Cup. So subscribe here if you want to see more. Follow us at Rebnoise, REBNOISE on social media, but also at Watch RNFC. And we'll kind of be enjoying the World Cup with you. Hopefully it's going to be an interesting one. I've talked about all the scandal, but I'm hoping now that we get underway, we're just going to enjoy the football. Anyway, Michelle, thank you very much for joining me on today's stream. And we'll see you very soon for some more football content for Rebellious Noise. Cheers.
Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise Football Channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.